Hey there guys, this is Cole. Welcome to a reaction video. Today I'm going to be reacting to a video from YouTuber Zach Pope. And now, for those of you guys who do not know who Zach Pope is, he's this guy who's been reviewing movies on YouTube for a little over a decade now. And now, I like Zach Pope. Now, do I agree with all of his opinions? No. But do I think he's an entertaining YouTuber? Yes. And he did a video posted 2 hours ago that already has 224 views, where he ranked every single Pixar movie, including Toy Story 5, which I've not seen, but I've seen a good amount of Pixar movies, so I'm going to react to his ranking video, kind of giving my thoughts on whether I agree or disagree with his choices. So let's just not waste any more time and get into it.
Story 5 now out in theaters. It's time to dive in and rank every single Pixar movie from worst to best. Now, again, this is only the long-form headed Pixar film. I'm not including the shorts. Maybe one day I'll do that. But we got 31 films to talk about.
All right.
So let's just get right into this. Number 31 is Cars 2. I talked about this film.
Yeah, Cars 2 is pretty bad. Now, it is a bad sequel. I don't think it's quite their worst movie, but pretty much every other ranking I've seen, Pixar ranking I've seen, puts this at the bottom, so I'm not shocked it's at his last place, but it's not a good sequel, so I do not blame anyone for putting it last.
Blue in the face. This movie is just very forgettable when it comes down to a Pixar film. I think there's some fun avenues in it, but it just doesn't feel like classic Pixar.
Right.
Like it's there to sell toys, and it probably was.
Yep.
Number 30, Brave. I remember the first time I saw Brave,
Brave's a bit of a mixed bag for me. Brave, to me, is a bit of a mixed bag, but that's just my thoughts.
Really enjoyed it. And when I go back to it, I kind of forget about it. And that's kind of what it is it's enjoyable in the moment, then you kind of go, wait, what did I watch? What was that redheaded movie that I watched a couple days ago? Oh, yeah, that was Brave. You kind of just forget about it. It doesn't feel like classic Pixar. I do think the bears are cute, though. I'm at 29, Cars 3. Kind of the same thing. I think it does get back to the feeling of what Cars delivers, but I also don't think it's memorable in any...
Yeah, that is true. It's not a very memorable sequel. Honestly, I like the first Cars movie. The sequel's not so much.
Sort of light. I actually feel like it's missing something that the first Cars really had, and I think has continued to grow on me. And I really wish Cars 3 had that, but Cars 3 does have a really damn good animation.
That is true.
Turning Red. Turning Red is a film that I actually...
Okay, never saw Turning Red. It did not appeal to me.
Really enjoyed, and that was great the first time I watched it, but it really comes down to rewatchability, and this movie just isn't for me on those rewatches. I love the animation style and how much it's different. I like Domi Shi's like personal tale here, and I think people like my wife absolutely relate to this a lot more than I do. I really like the whole puberty angle too. I just don't think this movie is necessarily for me. Again, it's not one that I really care to rewatch. When I do this ranking, it's more of what would I rather rewatch today. I think Turning Red is good, I just don't think it's great. For 27, Finding Dory. I actually think this movie is very forgettable, sadly, but...
Finding Dory was decent. Nowhere near as good as the first movie, but it wasn't bad. Nowhere near as good as Finding Nemo, but it wasn't bad.
There's still a lot of fun avenues to it. I like the whole aquarium avenue. I like shifting the perspective actually to Dory. And I think a lot of her family aspect actually really works on an emotional level. I just think it goes way off the rails when we get to the finale. And it really did not feel like they knew how to end this story at all. Then number 26, it's Elio. I actually think Elio's a little bit underrated, but it comes down to that territory that I've only seen this movie twice. And it's a good movie overall, but it's one that feels like it's missing something. It's missing that classic Pixar feel, which sometimes it feels like it has in terms of friendship and what it's trying to say about this friendship and this relationship. But again, there was a lot of stuff that went on behind the scenes. I actually know someone who saw a very early test screening of this, and when they finally saw the final cut, they said it was completely different than what they originally saw. It sucks, because I think Elio had all the makings to be a great sci-fi fun Pixar movie, but I think it falters in a lot of different aspects. And my number 25, which my wife says I would be crazy to not have this higher because she loves this movie, but for me, I think this movie's just fine, and that's The Good Dinosaur. Incredible.
The Good Dinosaur was okay. It is one of Pixar's weaker movies, but I don't think it's terrible.
Animation. Actually heartfelt and emotional storylines, but it really doesn't feel like a Pixar movie. It feels like something...
And I know that movie was studio interfered.
Scattered Beyond, a little direct-to-home video that has a sincere story and would have been nostalgic back in the day, but nowadays it's just not. It's something that we have seen so many times before. I
Yeah,
think that's
that
the
is
one thing with
true.
The Good Dinosaurs. It just doesn't feel fresh to go up against the rest of the Pixar lineup. Number 24, and that's Monsters University. Actually, the more I sit on this movie, the more I watch, the more I rewatch it, the more I
Monsters University was okay. It wasn't anywhere near as good as Monsters Inc.
actually like it more. I think it's a really damn good movie. In fact, I actually think it's really
Eh.
rewatchable, which is the hence why it's actually farther up on this list than it may be for other people. I think this movie is so incredibly funny. I love the party comedy angle that they went for into the college surface and kind of touching onto that genre. And I think seeing Sully and Mike in college is actually a really fun idea, especially with their frat party. I think that is one
Fun idea, execution was meh.
of the best sequences in the entire film. I think this movie is missing one thing, and that's the emotional hook, the
Yup.
angle that almost nearly 99% of Pixar films have.
Yup.
And this movie just doesn't. And there was a clear and obvious one that I've always talked about in my videos. It's the film should have ended with them telling their story to Boo, who is about
Yup.
to go to their first day of college. See, the tears would have already started swelling.
Yup.
23 is The Incredibles 2. Now, when we get into this category, I think every film up
Incredibles 2 I liked for what it was. Wasn't perfect, but it was a good sequel for what it was.
in here I can literally throw on at any point in time. It does not matter. I will just watch it whenever. And I think The Incredibles 2 is a really, very, very, really good damn sequel to the first Incredibles movie. It's a movie that I absolutely really enjoy. I love, love, love seeing the shift to Mr. Incredible having to be the stay-at-home dad to Miss Incredible going into the action. I love seeing the family use their powers. I love the subplots. Everything with Jack Jack is perfection, may I just say. The raccoon battle, literally one of my favorite things ever.
Yep.
But when it comes down to the film as a whole, there's two things that just don't work for me. And it's the main villain of the movie.
Yeah, the villain was
as
kind of
well as
weak.
all the other heroes that are introduced. They just don't feel fresh. They
Yeah.
feel boring. They feel tacked on. They don't feel like
True.
a Frozone or an Incredibles or anyone that was really introduced in the first movie. My number 22, Lightyear. I actually really like this movie.
No, I respect your opinion, Zach, but I disagree. I did not like Lightyear at all. To me, that's the worst Pixar movie, at least of the ones I've seen. But to each their own.
Sometimes I think it's great. Now, is this one that I really go back to all the time? No, and I do really will contend that if this movie did not have the name Buzz Lightyear on it or any category or any tie into Toy Story, I actually think that this movie would be liked a lot more. I think it's the fact that it has the angle of, oh, this is the movie that Andy grew up with and absolutely loved and what made him love Buzz Lightyear, because reality is this is not the movie Andy would have liked whatsoever. No. It just wouldn't have been. But I think when you view it as just a pure sci-fi action movie, I think that's where it really hits. There is a strong emotional angle in the start of the movie. I think some of the action is great. Some of the side characters I really like, especially Socks. And I like where the story ended.
Some of the action bits were okay, but my main issue was the movie just felt like a really bad ripoff of the movie Interstellar, directed by Christopher Nolan, but it forgets what made that movie good. And look, I love cats, but I found that cat annoying.
Going overall, I didn't love the twist on Zurg, but
exactly,
it was enjoyable for what it is. I just think this is kind of like a spin-off is enjoyable, but the time angle and everything to that actually gets me every single time, that emotional hook, and it just kind of feels like light Interstellar, but I kind of dig that. And we get to my number 21, and that's Onward. I think this movie would have done so much better and had such a more...
Okay, I never saw that. I mean, I saw like maybe a little clip of it when I was at my grandma's house when my mom's sister's kids were watching it, but I didn't see the movie, so I cannot comment.
Beloved audience if COVID did not happen at the same time. And I didn't expect that to happen. I expected Onward to kind of be a forgettable Pixar movie, and one of those ones that we were going to look at as maybe Cars 2. And then I went and saw this movie, and I was utterly blown away, not just from the world building or the lore, what they had built up within this fantasy realm, but specifically with its story about the dad. I cannot believe the angle that they go to, the emotional depth. This is one of the movies that makes me cry like a baby every single time I get to finishing it. But I love the brother and father angle. I think all that sorts of stuff is great. I think it has a fun adventure, and I genuinely think if you have never seen this movie, you're missing out. We get to my number 20, and that is Bug's Life. Now, Bug's Life's a little bit higher on this list than I
do like Bug's Life. I wouldn't put it in my... It is a little on the lower tier. Well, well, more so the middle tier, but it's still a good movie. I still do like Bugs Life. I don't get why we didn't get a sequel, but oh well.
Usually have it. And I know a lot of people are huge Bugs Life fans. I enjoyed this movie. I just think it's funny, but a little dated at times. I just
Yeah.
never really care to go back and rewatch this one, but anytime it happens to be on, or anytime I do decide to put it on, I'm really locked in and having an utter blast. And it's a great one, especially with
Yep.
the band of characters. And I think that is, for me, the biggest highlight of it all. Number 19 is Cars. Probably a lot higher for some of you Gen Zers out there. I think Cars is really adorable
I like the first Cars movie.
movie. I think this one has only grown on me, especially because my son loves cars.
Nice.
Movie Cars, but maybe one day. But he likes cars, and he'll like watching this movie. And I like the racing sequences. I like the animation. I like the simple story that it has to say. And I love the band of characters in Route 66. I think these side characters in here are, for me, just the perfect angle that add over to Lightning McQueen's story. And everything that kind of goes with the Hudson Hornet and him, I think, is pure perfection. Then number 18, it's Elemental. Elemental, for me, was such...
Okay, never saw that. Cannot comment.
A big genuine surprise. It's a great romantic comedy that adds such a flair to it and also has very strong themes about race. And I think that's something that every kid should really learn about, especially understanding that we can all get along. You know, no matter what our world or what our news is telling us, it's all good. But even on the surface of that, if you're not even wanting to dive into that, Elemental is just a pure relationship. And it's a pure, beautiful rom-com at that self. And I imagine that some kids, their first rom-com will end up being Elemental. I think it's sweet. I think it's cute. I think it's funny. And I absolutely love the animation for this one. Number 17, we got Inside Out 2. Now, this is where I think we
Inside Out 2 was good. Not as good as the first, but I liked it.
Almost got a perfect movie here. And I would say this and on up, these are like all masterclass Pixar movies for me, which is saying a lot because we're 17 films deep and we still got 17 more to go. So Inside Out 2, I think, just doubles down on what made the first film great by adding more emotions, by growing up Riley and adding so many different layers. And I think anxiety, which ended up could have been very annoying, I like how it's okay. It showcases that all these new emotions are actually more toxic and more scary. It's okay to deal with them. It's okay to have them. It's okay. It's what makes us human. And I really love what this film had to say. I think it has some of the same questions and the same moral stuff of the first film and accepting all your different emotions, but I think in the way that it showcases it and shows it kind of made my anxiety go down just a hair, and I think this movie is absolutely beautiful. Number 16, we have Luca. Luca maybe is one...
Never saw it, cannot comment.
The most rewatchable Pixar movies for me, and part of that might be because I get to touch into an Italian culture that, you know, I'm Italian, my family doesn't really touch into that culture too much, but I've always wanted to jump into it, and I really like that Luca touches into that a little bit more. I also like that Luca is just like pure in its heart and its sincereness and its friendship and its characters, and it just feels like one summer day, like kind of adventure, and it feels like a Studio Ghibli type of like coded movie where it's just like a simple day.
I like Studio Ghibli movies. I might give this one a watch at some point.
And sometimes those are the best.
Granted, this is Pixar, but what he's describing, you know, I might check this out.
Studio Ghibli films, like something like My Neighbor Totoro or like Ponyo, like that's kind of what I feel from Luca, and I think the inspirations are definitely there, and I think it just fits and works. It's simple, it's sweet, there's not a ton to it, but I think that's actually kind of the best part about the movie. Number 15 is Up. I know. Everyone's going, Zach, what the...
I love Up. That's my second favorite Pixar movie, actually.
Hell are we doing here, man? Up is this low. Look, have you seen the lineup of Pixar movies? It's tough to get it even into the top 10,
That's true.
I'm being honest with you. But Up at number 15, I love this movie. I think it's near perfect. Like, near perfect. I have some things when it comes down to the emotional stuff that just doesn't hit, but this film has actually started to grow on me a little bit more over the last few years. Yeah. It's become one of the ones that I can instantly throw on and rewatch, and I think there's just this nice emotional avenue that I really get from this movie that I didn't get when I was younger. Obviously, other than the ending, but when it comes down to like Carl's adventure with Russell, I think it's an avenue there that really just fits. Now, I think some of the adventure aspects are a little bit funky, but Up is just a pure fun and emotional journey for the most part that I think is just super memorable. It's super wild. It honestly shouldn't work, but it does, and I think that's what's brilliant about it. I think Up showcases that Pixar can honestly do anything, and I miss these very original ideas that they used to do, where they had a talking dog, an old man, a Boy Scout, a crazy bird, and a balloons filled with a house going on adventure. Number 14 is Monsters Inc. I love this movie.
Yep.
What can I say? I think this movie is fantastic.
I would personally place that movie higher, but it's still a really good movie.
I love Mike and Sully. I love their relationship with Boo. I think Randall's a really intimidating villain.
Yep.
I actually really like what it has to say about corporations. I think it's actually very timely for today.
Yep.
But Monsters Inc. is one of the first heads of the Pixar empire. And I think when you go back and watch Monsters Inc., you can see why. It has the charm. It has the comedic. It has the great idea of the monsters that hide in the closet or the monster under your bed. What do you do? What did he deal with? What are their lives about? I love it. Number 13, this one's new, but I cannot stop thinking about it. It's one of my favorite movies of this year, and that's Hoppers. I loved Hoppers. I cannot believe how much I loved Hoppers.
Okay, never saw it, cannot comment.
And it's crazy to me to say that because I've always been saying we should support Hoppers because it's an original Pixar movie. You want more original Pixar stuff, you want more original Disney stuff, then showcase this movie. And I think this movie did fairly well, but I went into this movie thinking this is gonna be a good time, and I walked out going, "Holy shit, that was."
All right. So far I'm liking this video. Oh, hold on a sec. Sorry about that. Gotta let this ad play out. Unfortunately, but so far I'm liking this video. Really the only choice that I really disagreed with was Lightyear, but otherwise I'm agreeing with a good chunk of these choices so far. But again, I understand this is his opinion. It's all subjective. But like I said, I do like Zach Pope as a reviewer. Like I said, I don't agree with everything, all of his opinions, but I think he's a good YouTuber. And we can skip ads soon here, so...
Guys, I think that was a perfect Pixar movie, if I'm being completely honest with you. And I genuinely still do. I've seen the film at least 3 times now, and I cannot stop loving this movie. I love what it has to say about nature, but I also love what it has to say about judging a book by its cover. And also, like, discovering yourself. Like, there's so many big, heavy things in it, and it's also kind of wild. It's crazy. I like the humor in this, and even the big smack. Not going to say anything more if you don't know about that, but this film just has a lot of those greatness. It carries laughs, it carries emotion, and it made me cry over a damn beaver. So, yeah, I love this movie. 12, it's WALL-E. I will never, ever, ever not love WALL-E. I love what WALL-E has to say. I love how it's
yes, classic movie.
Kind of like an homage to silent films for about half of it, and then it's also an homage to very big sci-fi movies. And I think some of its themes and messages are very relevant to today's standards. In fact, I think WALL-E is maybe one of the most important movies that you could go and watch today. WALL-E and Eva, like when you look at romance, because I know we say rom-com was the first in Elemental, but I think when we look at Pixar, the first actual romance they ever touched on was WALL-E and Eva. And their romance is completely believable. I love the robot cast in here, but I think this is a tale of 2 different stories, kind of like Up, but WALL-E is like literally half of this, and then the other half is the other story. And I actually think it really works and melds perfectly. My number 11, it's Ratatouille. Now, this is actually one that's weirdly enough on this list, but I don't go back to rewatch.
Awesome movie.
It all too often. And it's one that I more just cherish my experience with. I have no qualms with this. I think this is a masterpiece of a movie. I love the relationship between Remy and his family. I also love his relationship between Linguini and how that whole story plays out. I love the food. It always makes me hungry. I just think this is a wild idea that works on every level. Round out into my top 10, and my number 10 is Soul. Now, this movie, again, was just killed by COVID. It was killed by COVID, killed by putting on Disney+. This movie,
I haven't seen it yet, heard good things.
Like the era before COVID would have been an all-timer for Pixar. I think this movie would have made a ton of money. I think people would have fallen in love with this film. I think Soul is one of the best movies of this decade, and I genuinely think it's one of the best films Pixar has ever made. Pixar tackles the idea, what is the meaning of life? And this is the movie that does it. And if you've never seen 9 Lives, by the way, or 9 Days, sorry. 9 Lives is a completely different movie. Definitely don't watch that. 9 Days, one of the best films of this decade as well. Soul and 9
I didn't see 9 Lives. I heard that movie sucked.
Days both came out in the same year. Both movies have kind of the same meaning and theme to it of what is the meaning of life. And also, both would make a great double feature. I've done the double feature. It's fantastic. I highly recommend it. Off topic, though. Soul is a masterpiece. I love this movie. I love every avenue it goes to. And even when it gets weird with, like, the cat stuff, like, I actually kind of feel it's sincere, especially when you get to see, like, number 9. I think that's her name. And like when she's talking to the student, it's such a great movie that only grows on me. And I've seen this movie so many times now, and I love how it really tells a fabulous story about life. Number 9, and it's Inside Out, man. I mean, Inside Out is just masterclass for me too. I go back and forth of
Yeah, Inside Out, really good movie.
Soul or Inside Out, which one I like more. And I like how both kind of touches on a little bit of similar stuff, but in different aspects.
Yeah.
I think Inside Out has the more adventurous, emotional journey for me. And I think when you look at the film, especially when it gets down to Bing Bong stuff and what he represents, it shatters my heart every single time I go back to Inside Out, but I still love.
Unfortunately, the part with Bing Bong, unfortunately, that was spoiled for me before I did see the movie, but I still thought the movie did do a good job handling that.
Of this movie to today to such a high degree that I cannot emphasize enough how much I love Inside Out. Number 8, it's Coco. I would not be shook by...
Yeah, Coco was a good movie.
You know, a couple years from now, Coco ends up moving up even 2 more spots. I think Coco is the most emotional non-Toy Story movie for me when it comes down to Pixar. This film...
Okay, I can agree with that.
Brings me to tears every single time I watch it. It has a great music. I love the culture that it brings into here.
Yeah.
And I really love the animation here. But I think what Coco really strikes upon is that it just hits that classic Pixar feeling again.
Oh, yeah.
It feels like a movie that they would have made immediately in the first 5 to 6 years of them being alive and being out there producing films. And I think there's just nothing wrong with this movie. From the villain twist to the villain itself to the cast of characters you meet alongside, Coco is a masterpiece of a movie, and I think all of us should agree with that. At number 7, it's Finding Nemo. Literally, it's fun.
Yeah.
I've watched this film like 3 times already this year. I
definitely one of their best.
absolutely love going back to Finding Nemo. My wife probably quotes this movie so many times. This is her favorite Pixar movie.
Okay.
And I love going back to it. I think this is literally maybe the most quotable Pixar film ever made. I think the story of Marlin and Nemo and how they're 2 different stories and 2 different stories about people kind of getting over their fears about things. And I love that. And I love seeing, especially as a dad now, like seeing Marlin's journey to find Nemo. That is something that I can heavily relate to now.
Yeah.
I just feel really relevant to. And my son literally acts like Nemo, like, don't touch that boat. Nemo, that's my fucking son. A lot of avenues, this only grows on me more and more, and I love it. Speaking of growing on me more and more, my number 6 is The Incredibles. Maybe one of the best superhero films of all time. The
Incredibles is awesome. That's my personal favorite Pixar movie.
Is, and at the time it was the best Fantastic Four film, let's just be honest. This movie is amazing. It's amazing. I still remember the first time I ever saw this in theaters. My dad took me out of school, took me and my friend to go see it, and I just remember being blown away with how much fun I had. And I love how this movie has only grown, because on the surface when I was a kid I enjoyed it because it's superheroes, it's a super family, there's all these fun avenues, but like as you grow up, this is more of a movie for adults in every way.
Yeah.
Every way. Bob Parr's entire midlife crisis. It's very relatable to so many dads out there, but also the way that the family interacts.
Yeah.
Jack's kind of this mystery syndrome as a villain. There is nothing wrong with this movie. I am so hoping that Incredibles 3 hits the same heights of this.
Yup.
I don't have, the optimism to that, but I hope so. And
same here.
If you haven't followed my channel for a while, then maybe you don't know what my top 5 would be. But I think anyone going into this who has religiously followed my channel or knows, they already know.
Yeah.
My top 5 is the top 5 Toy Story movies. That's the truth. Yeah, Toy Story is my favorite thing ever. It's my favorite franchise. It's my favorite literally everything. Like, if you can't see behind me, literally have a whole display case of most of my original Toy Story toys, as well as some of the newer ones all mixed in there. I'm wearing a Toy Story shirt. I'm wearing a Pixar hat. I mean, Toy Story is literally like the theme of my office. I love this franchise, and it's hard for me to separate 1 through 5 in any sort of way, because it just feels like they just keep, like, when I think they should stop, they just keep making them and they get great. They're all perfect in my book.
Okay, I love the first 3 Toy Story movies. Not a fan of 4, and I haven't seen 5 yet. You guys, if you want more details on why I did not like 4, just go check out my review. So I'm sure I'm going to disagree with some of the stuff he says here, but it's his opinion at the end of the day, and he is entitled to his opinion, and I'm entitled to mine. So, yeah.
And yeah, I do have a Toy Story ranking up. You can definitely go check that out, where I rank like everything Toy Story, and I do actually number out what like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 how I would rate those ones. But like for me, that top 5, like it will always hold to Toy Story. And if they make a 6th film, it'll probably take over 6th place, if I'm being completely honest. Like, unless they really screw the bet up, which, to be frank, I was worried about Toy Story 5. Just like getting into my Toy Story 5, like, I was worried about it. I was worried going in. I was optimistic. I was wondering what the emotional hook was. And I'm going to be honest, the first 25, 30 minutes of this movie, I'm enjoying it. But I'm like, what's the point? What is the emotional hook for this? Where if you go through the first 4 Toy Story films, I can tell you immediately what the hook was, especially Toy Story 4, which I think thematically is maybe the strongest Toy Story film.
Disagree. Did not like 4 at all, but again, to each their own.
And then after the first 2 acts end, Toy Story 5 hits me with a massive gut punch of that reveal at the tire swing. And I was not expecting that. I didn't know what to think. I was like, what is going on here? And it broke me. And it made everything kind of make sense into its own regard. Yes, is there too many subplots in this movie? Yeah, I think so. But this...
Yeah, again, I don't have an interest to see Toy Story 5 in theaters. Again, I thought the first three movies are masterpieces, but I did not like 4. But let's go on.
Movie nearly broke me. And I love what it had to say about tech versus toys. I like that it didn't just dissuade tech. And I also like that it just didn't dissuade the toys. There's a lot there that's meaningful, and I think it's such an emotional ending, more on the human side than anything. And I love that it ends in a way that doesn't feel definitive. I feel that they should make a 6th one. Maybe not soon, but they should absolutely make a Toy Story 6, especially if they have a story to tell. And then you get into Toy Story 4, which I said thematically I think is the richest out of all 4, or out of all 5. I love Woody's arc. I love that it's his epilogue to Toy Story 3. I like that it adds a lot of new characters. I know people are disappointed that they didn't get a lot of the old bunch, but like Toy Story 5 didn't do the same thing. Let's just be honest there. Like they kind of just sat there. But Toy Story 4, and you know what, going back to that, I hope people complain about that too. That's fine. That's fine to complain. But you get so much of them in Toy Story 2 and 3. But I think 4 needed to showcase a bunch of new characters to show Woody's point of view to everything that's new. Toy Story 3 is a masterpiece. A lot of people say that's where it should have ended. Maybe, maybe not. I love it. I love it. Toy Story 2 is, for me, maybe my favorite movie of all time. I love this film. It's literally a perfect sequel. It's a perfect adventure film. And Toy Story 1, it literally started Pixar. It changed animation forever. So, yeah, that's my Pixar ranking, guys. You knew what it was going to be if you followed me for a while. And if you're not, you're probably pissed off. Type it away in the comment section. But I definitely want to read your comments down below. Hit that like and subscribe for more.
All right. So his top 5 were the 5 Toy Story movies. Again, I like the first 3 Toy Story movies. Not a big fan of 4, so I don't have an interest in 5. But overall, solid ranking video. Again, I do disagree with some placements, but I thought this was an entertaining video. And yeah, I would definitely like to react to some more, ranking videos that YouTubers have done at some point, because this was fun to do. But yeah, we'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye now.